incredible sunrise this morning. Isn't that just absolutely spectacular? And this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live. Welcome to an incredible morning here at Djuma Private Game Reserve. Look at that spectacular sunrise that we have been blessed with this morning. And of course, the perfect silhouette of what once was a knobthorn. Isn't that absolutely lovely? It is very warm here today. It's 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So no jerseys for myself. No jerseys for anyone this morning, in fact. It is really, really spectacular. Hello, just in case you've missed me, my name is Taylor, and of course on camera I've got David again, who brings much luck to my life with finding all the animals. And isn't that fantastic? We left yesterday off with the cheetah and an incredible sunset, and now we've got this amazing sunrise in the background. Isn't that lovely? Now, we had a little bit of drizzle, can you believe it, earlier this morning. Little downpour just before we started, which was lovely. It was definitely welcomed. It's nice to just settle the dust. But as the sun rises, it's burning away all the clouds, and it's clearing up very nicely. Like I said, it's so nice and warm. I think finally the sun is back. Now I'm uncertain of what I'm going to do this morning. Do I go to Cheetah Plains and follow up on those cheetahs? Or do I perhaps go and find Shiluva, who is on the cut line? So I'd love to hear from you. Perhaps you can give me a hand on deciding. Should we go to Cheetah Plains to find the cheetah? Or should we stay on Djuma and have a look for Shiluva to start the day off? And if you'd like to send in your answers, you're welcome to either hashtag Safari Live or on Twitter, or you can send us an email, questions@WildEarthTV. Right, we're going to now reverse while I wait for your response as to what you think we should do today. Now, my one eye, my left eye, is a little bit red this morning. I have no idea what's wrong with it. It's not cooperating. So if you see that, I do apologize. But look who else we've got here. We've got our friend, the buffalo, who was making all sorts of sounds while we were watching the sunrise, and you can see a fence in the background. That is somebody's house in there. And of course we want to keep the buffalo and the lions out, especially when there are young children around, so they put up that electric fence. And Mr. Buffalo doesn't seem to mind too much, because that's actually where he slept, is in this little thicket. I remember passing him just before I got home last night after the long journey from Cheetah Plains back to Djuma. He's a lovely boy, but he better be careful, because he's all on his own. And we know that the Nkuhuma Pride is not too far away from here. I'm sure you're probably wondering, why am I not going to see my beloved Nkuhumas? Well, that's because there's somebody else out here today that you haven't seen for a while, who's going to take the pride and joy and have a look at the Nkuhumas. I'm always surprised to see these buffalo, even though there's lots of grass around for them to eat, that he's now feeding on some leaves. Isn't that funny? Probably preferring to change up his diet a little bit while there's some new leaves around. However, we know that they can't really digest those leaves too well. Hey, big boy, I wonder what he's going to get up to today. Perhaps he's going to go down to the dam. You may possibly see him on the dam cam a little bit later. It is going to warm up quite nicely. So it wouldn't surprise me if he went and wallowed in the mud for most of the day. Now, I wonder, David, if this is not perhaps our friend. The one that chased me and I had to dive into the tent, because there seems to be one big buffalo bull that hangs around and doesn't mind sitting right up against the fence. Now, normally they wouldn't really enjoy that too much, just because they've sort of blocked in, I suppose, with the fence. You can see him giving me a bit of a death stare. Does my voice sound familiar? No, he's, you know what he's doing? That is his resting face because he's using the luxury bathroom currently. You could hear the plopping of the patty. Oh, now he's finished. Now he's moving on. He's still looking in all right condition. He's a little bit thin towards the rump. You can see, obviously, his body had to tuck into his muscle resource just as the drought is coming to an end. Well, it's not quite over just yet. We need quite a bit more rain, but he's keeping a careful eye out on us. We'll see where he goes, but he's a big bull. He does actually look very much like the bull that charged me. I'm going to give him space. No, and not that he's a problem in the vehicle. I'm very nervous of him, as you can imagine, after my ordeal with the buffalo. Lovely. Well, the buffalo is heading away. And like I said, there's somebody special here who hasn't been here for a while and is absolutely desperate to say hello. So without further ado, let's go across to Byron so he can say hello.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, I'm back. It's so good to be back. Those of you who don't know me or can't remember me, my name's Byron. And on camera this morning, I've got Brian and the thumb. So the B&B are back together again. It's great to be back. I'm so excited. I've really missed this place. I've missed everyone, and it looks like I brought some rain with me. This morning we had a bit of a downpour, not a lot, but there's still a bit of cloud cover around. It looks like it's cleared up though, and any little bit of rain is very, very welcome. So it sounds like Taylor's waiting to find out what she's going to do. She's going to head over to Shaluva or head down to Cheetah Plains. Myself and Brian are going to head back into the area where the lions were yesterday with the buffalo kill and see what activity is going on around there. Taken a little bit of a detour, just driving around. After a bit of rain like this, it's a lot easier to see any fresh tracks. So just having a quick scan, and then we're going to head, have a look here. There's a giraffe. There we go. Wow, really old male giraffe. That's fantastic. Lovely little surprise. I can hear the faint roar of lions in the distance. Actually, I'm just trying to listen out which direction they are coming from. It is quite far. I don't think you'll be able to hear it on the mic, but it sounds like kind of southeast of us, or a little bit further east of where we are. That giraffe's just disappeared into the thicket over there. Can you still see him? Yeah. It looks like that giraffe might also be listening to the lions and he heard. Just trying to see if his head pops up again for us, because it's very, very interesting just to see how old this giraffe is. And I can tell because of all that calcification around the head. Let me just see if I can reposition so that you can have a good look at that. Anything there yet? Sorry, this is proving a little harder than expected. My reversing and driving skills and talking need some practice. Been out of it for a little while. He's just moving off there. But that was a very, very old giraffe. A lot of calcification. You get these really large protrusions coming out of the skull, and that's a good sign or indication that it's an old giraffe. It was a nice surprise. Let's continue on towards the lions. So as I was saying, it's great to be back. I've been all over at the moment. I've been guiding in different parts of South Africa, and now I'm back for quite a while, which is great. I think I'm here for about 3 weeks, then about a week break, and back for another two or 3 weeks. So really looking forward to it. I'm giving some of the other guys a break. I know James, I think, is currently lying on the beach somewhere. taking some time off for his birthday, which is fantastic. Brent, unfortunately, has hurt his back, as you heard yesterday, so hopefully he recovers quite quickly. And then Jamie is also taking some time off. It's great to meet Taylor. She wasn't here last time I was here, so lovely to meet her and spend some time with her. And of course, all of you, all the viewers, thanks so much for all the messages. I've been receiving a lot of messages. Everybody excited that I'm back, and I look forward to all the questions and comments coming through. Don't forget that you can send questions through Twitter, #SafariLive, or email us at questions@wildearth.tv. And myself and Taylor will get through some of those questions. Such a beautiful morning. After this rain, everything kind of cools down a little bit, and it's almost like we get a bit of relief from this dry heat, and the dust settles. The smells in the bush are incredible. All the birds are calling. It's a wonderful, wonderful time after this morning rain. You can see some green grass shoots coming up already, which is fantastic. You know, we've had a very, very dry season, so hopefully we get more rain. We're going to need a lot more for water holes to fill up in that, and for the vegetation really to grow. I was in this area, or just further south, about 3 weeks ago. Oh, there's something else. Look at that. Beautiful zebra. Oh, wonderful. Looks like it's alone. I don't see any others around. Perhaps a stallion. It's always difficult from a distance just to gauge if it's male or female, but from what it looks like, it's definitely a stallion that I can see that's there by himself. And he may be looking for some females at some point. Oh, that got his attention. Oh, beautiful animals. And you know, just driving now, I'm thinking to myself, it's just so great to be back here in this area where the wildlife is so abundant. I mean, just driving around already, we passed a buffalo bull early this morning on our way out. We saw that beautiful old giraffe, and now the zebra. It just makes guiding so much easier when you're seeing animals on a regular basis like this. And by the sounds of things, and I've been following a little bit too, everybody has been so fortunate with all the sightings. All the cats yesterday was incredible. Yesterday afternoon, the lions, leopards, cheetah. So, everything's happening at the moment, which is fantastic. I think a lot of the animals are still struggling a bit after the drought, so they're not quite as healthy as they would like to be. But that is nature, and very soon I think everything's going to find a balance and restore themselves back to good health. But the zebra over here actually looks quite good condition. It's always difficult to tell with zebra though, because they always seem very plump and very well fed, and it's because they get a lot of gases building up in their body when they are feeding. You can see this zebra is constantly feeding there. They are bulk feeders, so they're constantly grazing, looking for good grass. It's probably trying to find those green little shoots that I was speaking about earlier that have just popped out, and trying to look for all the nutrients in there. It's interesting to see that tail always swatting, constantly keeping flies away. So I'm going to carry on, myself and Brian are going to carry on and go see if we can find those lions, see what's going on there. Taylor's got something in a tree for you to look at.
Finally, I've been seeing plenty of birds this morning instead of with a grey backdrop. We've actually got some blue sky for a change, so that's quite exciting. Remember the other day I was saying how I always seem to see the most birds on the cloudy and the most gloomy of days, which doesn't always provide the best picture. But this is a little bit better, and of course this is a very active white-backed vulture. Very regular, apparently, as he sits there waiting for the day to warm up and the thermals to start brewing, so it can go off and start its day. Now, vulture, if I can point you in the right direction from where you are, if you can see, it looks like it perhaps wants to take off. Often they defecate before they fly. Yes, are you going to jump? It looks like he's getting ready to jump. Do a big jump for us. Now try and catch a screen grab here. That would be quite nice to get this vulture leaping off this dead tree and into flight. Okay, we'll see if we can catch it. Oh, it's thinking about it and it's looking north. Perhaps it understands English. Or maybe it can also just see its friends in the distance. You've given us false hope, vulture. Now it looks like it's settled down again. Look at those big feet, though, just draping over the edge of that long toes, big claws. Perfect for perching. Seem very relaxed. Now, I know that all of you watching have made a decision as to what we should do this morning, and I think most of you have voted for Cheetah. That's exactly what David and I are doing, is that we are making our way towards Cheetah Plains, and hopefully we'll be able to find those boys again. It'll be quite exciting. You can see that nice blue sky that I was telling you about. My eye seems to be getting a little less red. I am dousing it with eye drops. Hopefully it's going to sort it out. But let's carry on. Let's not stall any longer. I know we need to try and get there as soon as we can so that nobody we're going to get there and they're still going to be on those big beautiful plains, perhaps just laying underneath the tree, sitting on the top of a termite mound. And if you weren't watching today, sorry, because you missed an incredible drive. It was action-packed. We had lions, Jamie had 2 leopards, and then of course we found the 2 cheetah brothers, which haven't been seen for a couple of months, so that was quite nice. And as we left you, a herd of wildebeest moved in and sort of herded the cheetah away from where we had them, and they were showing some interest in those impala that were alarming and of course running away from the brothers. So we'll see, perhaps they got lucky and maybe they caught one. But it's going to take us some time to get there. I feel as though because my eye is a bit on the fritz, I can't go as quickly as I was going yesterday. I have to just take it easy. It's fantastic. Remember how I said it was a little bit, it wasn't chilly this morning, and I've actually taken all my jerseys off and things. David's put another one on. He says it's got very cold. Right. But let's go back across to Byron, who's got my favorite animal in the whole wide world.
So it's Taylor's favorite animal, but it's probably one of mine too. This beautiful elephant. I love seeing elephant out in the bush. It's just amazing. We were on our way to see if we can find those lions again. And as I mentioned, we bumped into so much already this morning, and then this elephant bull just standing, feeding very peacefully on the side of the road. What I've noticed, and if you can look closely where his tusk is over there, but the tree that he's feeding on is actually a buffalo thorn. Now, I always find this absolutely fascinating. The thorns on these trees are incredibly sharp. You can't touch one of the branches or anything, it will draw blood. They're very, very sharp, and obviously it's a protective mechanism to prevent animals from feeding on them. But if you have a look at this elephant, he's very, very happy to pull those branches right off and use that tusk to break it. Let's see if he gets it right. And then feed on that. It's incredible, and I think one of the main reasons why they love these trees so much is because of all the nutrients. These trees have thorns for a reason. It's to protect them because they have so many nutrients, so a lot of animals want to feed on them. Obviously the thorns help a little bit, but as you can see with this big elephant, if he wants to feed on them, he's not going to be too fazed by thorns. Other trees have different defense mechanisms. Some of them will just have a very high tannin content. And that will prevent animals from feeding on them. One of the best examples is the guarri tree. But for now, this elephant is very happy feeding on the buffalo thorn. And it gets its name from, I think years ago, hunters or people that were tracking or following animals, they would find buffalo quite regularly being hunted by lions, and these buffalo, what they would do is actually reverse into the buffalo thorn, and that way prevent the lions from attacking from the rear, and they could defend themselves with their horns facing outwards and facing the lions. So that is apparently how it gets its name, the buffalo thorn. Don't see any other elephant around in this area at the moment. It just seems like it's this bull on his own. So Wyatt has asked us a question, and good morning to you, Wyatt. Wyatt has asked, what age do elephants start mating, or the young bulls start mating? Wyatt, what I've seen in the past is generally from the age of about 25 to 30, the elephants definitely start becoming more dominant, and the chances of mating with females are a lot better. The reason why they need to wait till they're a bit older is not because they won't be able to mate before then. They probably would, but what happens is the older males prevent the younger males from mating with the females. It's only the really big dominant males that are able to mate with the females. So this male over here, I think, is still a little bit young. If he finds females, he could probably try his luck, but I think he will be pushed out by a larger, more dominant male, and they will probably get the chance to mate with the females. So I would say anywhere between 20 and 30 years old, they'll start looking and start trying to mate with females, but it all depends on what dominant males are in the area. Let's see if this male comes and says hello. See how he's lifting his ears and head a little bit? Oh, this is wonderful. Look how close he is. Isn't this great? Notice how I just lowered my voice a little bit. Don't want to talk too loudly. He is quite close, but very relaxed. Wow, look at him just reaching over there for those leaves at the top. This is a fantastic welcome back. To get so close to an elephant is just an incredible experience, and it really is so special. Wow, look at that eye, beautiful. It's got if you are able to see, they do have a beautiful amber color to the eye. There we go, you can just look at those long eyelashes. Again, he is quite close, so I'm not talking too much and not too loudly. Don't want to startle him. He's very comfortable with us at the moment, and I always like to think a feeding elephant is a happy elephant. So if they are standing, chewing, feeding, pulling, breaking branches, they generally are quite relaxed, and he is not showing us any sign of him being uncomfortable with us being so close. Also, he chose to approach us, which is something else that's much better than us trying to drive in towards a herd or closer towards a male. They can then become a little bit aggravated. Wow, he's really moving quite close now. He's probably about 3 meters away from me. I mean, it's right here. It's fantastic. And again, just watch how he uses those tusks to break the branches. Oh, I could hear some elephant screeching in the distance, possibly a younger elephant that maybe is just trying to get milk from a mother. Often that happens, and the younger elephants screech and scream. And maybe this young bull is trying to catch up to the herd. So we've got a question that I think has come through via Twitter from Gorky Grizzly, and Gorky Grizzly would like to know what is the difference, other than the ears, between the African and the Asian elephant. Well, you're 100% correct with the ears, and the African elephant ears are much larger than the Indian elephant. The other thing is generally the size. The African elephants are much larger than Indian elephants. The shape of the head is slightly different. The Indian elephants tend to have a much rounder head, but size, ears, and shape of the head is probably the easiest way to tell the difference between the African and the Asian elephant. Such a wonderful, wonderful sighting. Look at those ears folded over slightly, and there you can see the ear canal. And again, those beautiful lashes. And look at those veins behind the ears. And that's one of the ways they cool themselves down. They flap those ears because of all the blood running through those veins. It cools the blood down slightly, and that helps regulate body temperature. You can see every now and then when he opens his ears, there we go, look at those veins. Huge network of veins running through those large ears. I think we're going to leave this beautiful bull. We've had such a wonderful sighting with him. So relaxed, so happy to walk right past us. We're going to carry on having a look if we can find where the lions have gone to, if they're still around. While I do that, Taylor has got a large bovine for you.
We've got quite a few large bovids for everybody that is watching this morning. It's a nice breeding herd, not particularly large. There must be about 50 of them or so here moving through, and they're moving very quickly. None of them want to hang around. I think breakfast is more important this morning, or perhaps they've had a scare from something and they've decided they need to get out of the area that they were in. They're making quite a bit of noise as well, so see if we can have a little listen as they communicate. No, not talking too much, just a little bit of chitter-chatter. You can see this one's very curious with us, watching us, giving us the buffalo stare, as they love to do. And they're beautiful. Now, on our way towards Cheetah Plains, it's one of the things I'm also going to be looking for. Was yesterday afternoon we could hear, and we very briefly saw a very large herd of buffalo. So perhaps they'll be out today and actually in the open instead of hiding behind all the trees. There's not a breath of wind today, so nobody has got an excuse to be a little bit jumpy. They'll be able to hear us, and they'll definitely be able to see us coming. Look at this lovely buffalo coming up towards us. Good morning. It's not much grass left, unfortunately, for the buffalo in this area. So I think that's why they're probably moving quite quickly, I suppose, as well, is that there isn't really anything for them to feed on, but they take advantage of any little bit of grass, as you can see there, is that they can put through their mouths and into their stomachs, because they don't know when we're going to get rain again, and neither do we, so they need to be prepared. And it's quite nice. You can see the little white flowers just to the left of the buffalo's foot. Now to the right of its face. Yeah, almost kicked it. Now, James has actually showed you these flowers quite a few times, and it's the string of stars that we're seeing at the moment. You can see all the little flowers are about to pop out and open. And that's something I'm looking out for. I did see one of my favorite flowers called a lion's eye, which is a bright orange flower, and I'm going to keep my eyes open for that, because I'd love to show you that one this morning. That's a really stunner, and it's quite interesting too, but I won't ruin the surprise too much until I find it. Wonderful. We're going to keep carrying on. In the moment, once this other buffalo crosses the road, of course they have a right of way, and continue our search for the Cheetah brothers. Hello, buffalo. Letting off a silent moo. No, not going across the road anymore. Decided that I'm going to go the other way around, the long way around. Let's quickly move off the road. Good morning, everybody. I think let's quickly go back to Byron. I've got to find out some information very quickly that could be quite viable to us.
So while Taylor carries on heading towards Cheetah Plains, tries to work out where the cheetah are, we're trying to have a look where these lions have gone to, and I can't see anything. I'm not sure if they've moved off already, but we are very close to that area that they were in yesterday. So we're having a good look around here. Really is a lovely morning. It's a nice, cool morning. It's not too hot just yet, but I think the day is going to be wonderful. I think it's going to be a beautiful day. We just need a bit more rain. We were saying this morning, Stefan and I were chatting, we were saying we need rain between 9 and 3. So it doesn't rain on game drive. Dina would like to know if I'm excited to see the Nkuhuma cubs. Definitely. When I was here last time, we suspected the one or two of the females had given birth, but we hadn't seen the cubs yet. So I'm very excited to see them and see how they are doing. I remember the one lioness kept going back towards Buffelshoek Dam. They were around that area quite a lot. I'm not sure if they eventually found a den site or if the lionesses just decided to bring them out when they were old enough. There's some impala around here. Don't see any sign of these lions. I really do think they've possibly finished that kill and moved off. Another zebra. Well, there's some impala through there. Always lovely seeing the impala in the mornings. They are beautiful antelope. probably all got a little bit wet this morning. Just a few hours ago, as I mentioned earlier, we had a bit of rain, which was lovely. It was lovely lying in camp listening to the rain falling. It's definitely very, very welcome at the moment. There's a black-headed oriole that is calling at the moment, right very close to us, very close to us. A beautiful call in the morning. And here's some more zebra. If you have a look, they're just off to the left of the road. I see 1, 2, and it looks like just 2 of them. Hold on a second, I'll try to get you a better view. There we go. And I think one of the reasons why we're seeing so many zebra in that at the moment is because of these green grass shoots. Good morning, James Richard. James, I know you're an avid follower, and James has asked what is on the wish list, or on my wish list, that I would like to see while I am back. James, I would like to see a honey badger. we were speaking about it yesterday, actually, and I just haven't seen a honey badger for, I think it's 3 or 4 years. And if I must be honest, a honey badger is my absolute favorite animal. I just love them. They've got such attitude. They're incredibly tenacious and not afraid of anything. So I would definitely love to see a honey badger while I'm here. And the other guys, whenever you say that, people say, oh, we saw one last week, or we saw one the other day. So hopefully in the next few weeks while I'm here, we get to see a honey badger. That would be definitely on my top of the list of my wish list. And then, seeing leopards, it's always wonderful. See what the leopards are up to in this area at the moment. And I just love spending time with elephant like we just did. I just find it, it's very peaceful. You're sitting watching these massive beasts move past, feeding, completely relaxed. And they really are fascinating. I love elephant. Still having a look for any sign of these lions, but no luck just yet. There's just some more impala moving through the thickets around here, and usually, I mean, if you do see a lot of these herbivores moving around, impala, chances of there being a pride of lions close by are quite slim. It depends. If they are feeding in an area, then yes, you can see them around. But with these impala, they've all been moving through, it looks like, over quite a large area. So I doubt there are any predators around. Otherwise, we probably would have heard the alarm calls already. They'll pick up on the scent or see the lions or predator, whatever it may be. Just trying to scan carefully. It's so funny coming back to Safari Live. As I mentioned, I've been guiding in other areas the last few months, been all over, and usually some of the areas that we go to or that I work in, there's a tracker that drives with us, so it makes it a bit easier for me as a guide with a tracker, because he'll be looking for tracks and also helping spot animals. Whereas now I've got to do everything myself. Well, Brian obviously helps, and his spotting's incredible, but it's difficult to look for tracks, talk to the camera, have a look around for animals. It takes a bit of getting used to, but it's a lot of fun. There we go, we've got a lot of vultures up ahead here. just have a look at that quickly. That's just a lovely view from back here. So all these vultures sitting in that tree. It's a perfect tree for them. See those dead branches? It's easier for the vultures to land in them. Oh, look at that. Beautiful white-backed vultures. And I think the reason they are all up here is this is the area I think that they had, or these lions had the kill. So I'm going to keep looking very carefully. Maybe they are still around. Often what happens is the vultures will go and sit in a tree like this, especially now in the early morning. It's rained a little bit. They're probably a bit wet, so they want to dry off. They're going to wait for the day to warm up, and as soon as those hot thermals start rising, that's when the vultures will take off, fly around and start looking for food. But I think they're all here because of that buffalo kill from yesterday. So that would have attracted 1 or 2 vultures, probably a batalier or tawny eagle. They're also scavengers. They'll come through, and then the next thing, all these vultures start following each other. They can see each other from about 2 to 3 kilometers away. So if one comes down, the next one just starts following and following until you get a large group of vultures like this, waiting for some scraps. So let's have a good look around here. Wow, these vultures are incredible. They're amazing, amazing birds. Look at the huge wingspans. And they're incredibly heavy birds too. Just have a look. I mean, as you see them jumping around and taking off, you can see the whole tree actually move, all the branches moving. Trying to listen out for any sign of those lions. Don't hear or see anything just yet. Let's just scan here quickly. Some vultures on the ground up ahead, and you can hear as they take off, you hear those wings flapping away. It obviously takes quite a bit of effort to get this large bird up into the air. And that's why they prefer using the thermals. They conserve their energy, and it's easier to then fly around while looking for food. Just going to move forward a little bit further. Like I said, there are some vultures on the ground up ahead, so let's go have a look there and see what they've found, or if they are feeding on anything. Yeah, 1 or 2 taking off just through the thicket. It's a bit difficult to see. There they go. Now, I know in the past, from what I've seen, lions don't like vultures around. They're very protective of their kill. If they do... Brian spotted something over there. Yeah, you see, carcass completely finished. And it looks like the lions have moved off. Isn't that amazing? There's nothing left of that buffalo. Yeah, so it does appear that the lions have moved off, and those were possibly the lions that we heard a little bit further east earlier this morning that were calling in the distance. But and it looks like some vultures have already got to that carcass, probably the odd jackal around. Other little scavengers during the evening coming through, probably some hyena perhaps. Usually only if the lions have moved off. If the lions are around, it's unlikely that those scavengers will come too close. They're still very nervous of the lions. But now with the lions moved off, I think very, very soon, especially as the day warms up, these vultures will come down and pick away at what's left there. And there is still a little bit of meat on the ribs and around the legs. but already the flies and everything around there. But not much left, completely finished. It's incredible. And it was a large pride. I mean, that Nkuhuma pride is doing well at the moment, so a kill like this would have been great for them, and especially having those males around. Those males can eat a huge amount of meat. So with them helping the pride, they'll get through a buffalo like this very, very quickly. Let us continue and see if we can't find out where those lions have gone. But at least we know what happened. It's great to kind of piece things together, especially during the evenings, you know. Oh, hang on, there we go. Lions. Fantastic. Yes. Male and female. Hang on. Let's see what's going on here. Just going to stop here. Looks like this male is trying to potentially mate with the female. Bit of growling going on. There we go. This is incredible. Look, so this male's mating with this female. I'm watching us. It doesn't look like a proper mating though. No, that was definitely not a proper mating. Let me just try and get a better position for us quickly. She doesn't seem too interested. She's trying to move away from him. But he is scent marking and doesn't want to move too far. Look how he's following her. Every now and then you might see him tap her back legs with his front legs or his front paws, trying to get her to stop walking away from him. Oh, a little sneeze. There, you see that? See, he's trying to get her to sit and crouch down. Oh, this is amazing. Listen to that interaction. Okay, I'm just going to move a little bit further forward. I see a gap for us without any branches, and I think Brian will get a better view for you from there. There we go. Lovely. And a beautiful morning light. Oh, that's fantastic. But you hear that interaction between the male and female, a little bit of low growling. He is definitely interested in mating with her. I'm not too sure if she is in estrus at the moment. But sometimes the males do just try their luck. This is one of the Birmingham males, I believe. I'm not too sure which one he is. I'm sure some of you viewers might be able to shed some light on that, if you recognize him. I wonder where the rest of the pride has moved off to. Those were then perhaps the ones that we heard earlier that have moved off a little bit. Usually what happens if lions are mating, the male and female do split away from the pride for a number of days, anywhere between 3 days and a week. And while they are mating, and then when they are finished, the lioness will probably rejoin the pride, and the male will continue moving around and basically patrolling his territory. Meet up with the brothers. I know there are 4 Birmingham males around here at the moment, so it's a nice large coalition. So they can have a huge territory and mate with females from many different prides, which they have done. This is wonderful. What a morning, gee. Beautiful elephant, the giraffe, the zebra, now these lions. And you can see that beautiful golden mane of that male just in this light, this morning light. Wonderful for photography. So not a bad start for us, eh, Brian?
No.
finished that kill and maybe been moving around quite a bit, I'm assuming they would have gone and looked for water somewhere. And the reason I say that is because usually after a kill, lions or leopards or any predator that feeds on something, they do get very thirsty. The blood is quite salty, so they do go and look for water. And there may be little pools of water around, maybe something after that rain that they found and they could have had a little drink. And now they're heading. I think what's going to happen though is as it starts to warm up, they're going to perhaps move down into this drainage line behind them and look for some shade and probably rest there for the day. But it's not too hot just yet. That's why they're still out in the open. So we found them just in time. Oh, beautiful eyes. Look at that. Cleaning themselves, possibly still a bit of blood on them from the kill that they had. See that light on that male's face? That is really beautiful. See, often what can happen is he may lay down next to her for a while and then eventually decide, okay, well, let me try my luck again, see if I can mate with this female. But it's amazing to see how they're constantly aware and alert, listening around for anything. So Bobby Ches would like to know if the biting of the lioness's neck by the male, if it immobilizes the females. So Bobby, the theory behind that is that, for one thing, the mating is actually a bit painful for the lioness. So it's not a very pleasant experience. But the theory is that with the biting of the back of the neck, it is to hopefully calm the lioness down a little bit, and it goes back to when they were cubs. Possibly the females carry the cubs by the scruff of their neck, carry them. So the theory is that biting the back of the neck helps relax them or calm them down a little bit, and then that the male is able to then also watch the female, because usually what happens when he climbs off of her, she will turn and swipe because it is quite painful. So I think it's a bit of both, calm them down, make sure she doesn't turn and bite him immediately. He's got to be quite careful. It's not a very pleasant experience for the lions. Here we go, hang on. So he keeps smelling, trying to see if she is an estrus. I'm just going to move with them a little bit so we don't lose them. And if they do mate, hang on. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Listen to that sound. Now I must admit that actually didn't look like a proper mating there either. And the reason I say that is usually when the lions do mate, if the male penetrates the female correctly, there is a lot of growling and snarling, and that female does get a little bit hurt. Look, the male's trying to creep up closer to her, it looks like. So both times now, it doesn't look like they've been mating properly. But watch, she's moving again. Looked almost like she heard something. I thought I heard another lion call in the distance. Let's see what they get up to, where they go. This is fantastic. Wonderful to be able to follow lions like this, especially when they are mating or the beginning stages of mating. And that could also be why it hasn't been too successful just yet, or they haven't mated properly. Maybe the male's still testing the female, trying to see if she is ready to mate or not. Oh, magnificent creatures, aren't they? It is wonderful to be able to find them early in the morning like this when they are still moving around. Because, as I mentioned, as soon as it starts warming up, let's just move forward a little bit with them. As it starts warming up, then they're probably going to go and look for some shade and lie down and rest. Also, if they keep going the way they are heading, they're heading right down into their deep drainage line, that very thick drainage line. I don't think we'll be able to follow them in through there. It will just be a little bit too difficult. They may just also continue along the edge of this thicket line. But just have a look at that male. He's not giving up. He's not letting her go. He's following her constantly. It does look like they're moving off. I'm going to try to stick with them a little bit longer. Just see which direction they go. If they do move down into the drainage line, we'll leave them. But let's just see where they do go. While I do that, I'm going to reposition the vehicle. Taylor's got a dazzle for you to have a look at.
So many zebra this morning. They're acting just like the buffalo. They seem to be on the move, looking for greener pastures. Nothing apparently tickles their fancy in this area, but don't worry, there is a second wind of zebra coming through, so they shall be here and join us in just a moment. But isn't that beautiful? You can now, for the first time in a few days, see that lovely golden light, because there are very few clouds in the sky now. The sun has burned most of them away. Look at them, David. They just keep coming and coming and coming. They're not stopping. It's like a production line of zebra being pumped out of the factory, and all they come, you can just see lots of stripes of white glistening in that light occasionally. Look at all of them. They're just coming from all sorts of directions. This is really beautiful. Now, I've got some very sad news for you, I'm afraid. Apparently, the Cheetah brothers have already crossed out of Cheetah Plains, through Nkoro, and into Torchwood. And it'll be interesting to see the direction that they're going. Let's hope that they don't cross north into Buffelshoek, but let's hope that they decide to change their course and go a little bit further west. And that's what I'll follow up on this afternoon, is I will check Cheetah cut line and see if they perhaps haven't crossed into Djuma. Wouldn't that be exciting? Look at them, they're still coming. They're everywhere. Well, it took us quite some time to get here. There were lots of people that we were chatting to along the way. So that's why I was gone for so long. And of course, those pesky gremlins that like to live in the drainage lines just as you come to Cheetah Plains, they were also harassing me a little bit. Wow, they really are determined though, more determined than the buffalo, not really stopping as frequently, putting their heads down to have something to eat. They're on the move. Now, I don't think that this is one herd of zebra. I think that there's probably 2 or 3 families in this massive group that have perhaps just been walking in the same direction and have joined up as safety in numbers. We know how important that is. Lots of males in here, lots of mares too. And they're slowly disappearing. There we go, another one. Now, looking at these beautiful zebra, something that we often notice is those beautiful big bellies and how swollen they are. Here we go, you can see. And I know that Marley G was wondering if zebra and horses have the same digestion. Yes, they do. Both very simple digestive systems. There's horses as well often bloat, like we see the zebra do with all those gases that they're releasing on a regular basis. So yes, of course, they've got very much a similar digestive system. Obviously, the wild horses will feed very much like zebra, feed on grasses, feed on a couple of leaves when the times are tough. But of course, the domesticated horses, they eat lots of grass and then all the other goodies that we feed them, carrots and mixed pellets that have got a variety of different things in them. We're going to leave the zebra now. Our aim is to get towards that beautiful big open area. Like I said, there's no wind, so I'm hoping, and I've got my fingers crossed, that we're going to come across an array of animals. Oh, I've heard somebody speaking. Let me see if I can get hold of them. Nope, not talking to anybody apparently on Cheetah Plains, but we will find our way around. I haven't seen any footprints of any of the cats either. I was keeping an eye out perhaps for the sticks, but I'm not sure where they are, and I'm not sure where the Styx Pride was last seen, but maybe you can help me with that. You can let me know when they were last seen and where they were last seen, and has Mom brought the new tiny cubs out just yet? And you can do that by either hashtagging Safari Live on Twitter, or you can send questions at WildEarthTV and pop us an email. Let's just have another look here and see. And I haven't even seen any hyena tracks recently. It's quite bizarre. Normally I'm always stopping and double checking for hyenas. Oh, hang on. As I said that, whose footprints do we have here? Right, I think I've got some leopard tracks. I just want to triple check. Yes, let me show you very quickly. Can you see the tracks that I'm talking about? Just over there. I'm going to try and point them out. Just see where you're going. Can you see them? I think they're on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you zoom in over there, can you see those footprints? We have got a female. Oh, sorry. I'm also trying to look at the tracks. It looks like a female leopard was perhaps walking down this road. It looks very late last night. The tracks are relatively fresh, but there's a little bit of dust in them. So I suspect that these are from last night's tracks, whoever was driving on this road. It'll be quite exciting. We're going to see if we can try and follow them. Now I'm going to keep my head down onto the ground. Of course, it looks like a female leopard's tracks. It could also be a very young male's leopard's tracks. But we're going to try and see if we can stick on them. Still walking on the road, and then you disappear off the road. Interesting. Oh, hang on, I can still see a few here. I'm not going to pay too much attention at the back. The ground has now got very hard all of a sudden. It's amazing how the substrate changes from lovely soft sandy soils where those lovely tracks were to now it's rock hard, and I actually cannot see anything on the ground here. I'm just going to roll very slowly forward until I can pick up on any more tracks. It's exciting. Now, I'm not even sure which females would be around in this area. I've never seen any leopards I haven't yet been in a sighting of leopards in Cheetah Plains. So again, I really need help today. Please give me a helping hand. Which females am I most likely to see sort of on the northern boundary of Cheetah Plains? Anybody in particular that hangs around? See here. It doesn't look like I can see any more tracks, but let's just double check up ahead on another sandy spot. Here's another one. Oh, what's going on over here? Okay, now I officially out onto the road. Perhaps she went off the road. Maybe did a little stroll, did a few marking of the territory. That's normally what we see when we see that zigzagging. Just have a little look here. It's a nice drainage system. Check the tops of the trees, check the termite mounds. I haven't seen any tails dangling from the tree just yet. take one long.
Okay, so these lines have moved off a little bit. They've moved through into a thicker area now. Just trying to see, they're moving backwards and forwards quite a lot. So perhaps they come out again. I'm going to try and reposition our vehicle a little bit and see if we can't get one more glimpse of them, and then see where they head to. That male doesn't want that female to get out of his sight. He's following her the whole time, staying very, very close by. They did try and mate again, but again, it didn't look like a proper mating. So let's just see which direction they've gone. There we go. We've got a nice view of them over there. Let's get that aerial out the way. There we go. Just through there. So they've just gone and laid down. Not far from us again, but they've been in and out of this thicker stuff. And every time that lioness wants to get up and move, the male follows her and basically prevents her from moving too far, and then they lie down again. So Shannon from Ohio has asked a question about the mating, and about what I was talking about earlier, saying how it is painful for the female. And Shannon would like to know, is it also painful for the male? So not as painful, and I'll tell you why, Shannon. What happens is when they are mating, the male's penis is barbed slightly, and the reason for that is when he is mating with a female, it induces ovulation. So the chances of ovulating while they're mating become a lot higher. So he will then test if she's in estrus, and then mate with her, and then try and hopefully cause her to fall pregnant. But when he withdrawals out of the female, those barbs obviously hurt the female quite a bit, and that's what actually causes the pain. It doesn't hurt him as much, from what we understand. Again, we don't really know, but from what you can see when they do mate, it's mainly the female that gets hurt, not really the male. And that's why she often turns around and swipes or growls or tries to bite him, because it does hurt her. And you also see it very clearly with leopards when they're mating, same thing. When the male withdraws out of the female, she does get hurt, and they'll turn and swipe. Often the male jumps off very quickly. Sound like they heard something. I think what's possibly got their attention are those vultures. You can see the vultures in the tree behind them, and some of those vultures that were on the ground earlier, that would attract the attention of the lions, and they'll just have a look. Probably heard them moving around on the ground, or caught a glimpse of the movement. It's nice to really just be able to sit with these lions and basically see their natural behavior from a distance, not interfering. They're still quite active. Often, you do get lions later in the day that rest, because they are mostly active at night. So to get them active like this during the day is fantastic. But it is warming up quite a bit now. So I wouldn't be surprised if these lions start looking for shade quite soon. And there's that lovely shot of the vultures in the background. Wonderful. Looks like the skies have cleared up quite a bit. So no more cloud, or very little cloud cover compared to what we had this morning. But there's still beautiful light on those lions. You know, this is really a photographer's dream. You want to get this morning light or afternoon light on this, especially these animals like lions, this golden coloration. You know, the light just helps accentuate that image so much when you are photographing them. So Lael from Washington would like to know if the females ever groom the males. Lael, at times the grooming which may occur between male and female would possibly be if there's a bit of blood from a carcass and they clean each other. It doesn't happen often. From what I have seen, it doesn't happen often with females cleaning or grooming males. The males often groom themselves or clean themselves. The females will clean each other, or especially the cubs. And that's usually when you see lions grooming each other, is the females, adult females, grooming and cleaning the cubs. You mentioned that yesterday you saw a lion with some bad ticks on his rump, and that's, unfortunately, he's got to deal with that himself. You won't find lionesses necessarily going cleaning ticks off another male, especially a male. You know, they're still a bit nervous of the males. The males can be quite aggressive at times. They sometimes don't realize their own strength. And lionesses don't always just walk up to males and start cleaning and licking and grooming. They're always very cautious. It's a beautiful lioness. It looks in very good condition. Oh, this is really wonderful. It's so great to be back here. It's so peaceful again and just spending time out in the bush. I had a really interesting lion sighting about 3 weeks ago. We were on safari in the Kalahari, and there's a pride of lions that we found, and we knew they had cubs, 2 lionesses. They had 7 cubs between the 2 of them, 3 to the one lioness and 4 for the other. And we knew where the den site was, but they were only, we estimated, about a month and a half to 2 months old, so still very young. And what happened was, we found the lioness, one of the lionesses, one morning, and we could see she had just fed. She was very full. She walked and led us straight towards the den site, and then she continued to call the cubs out. So we thought perhaps she was just going to suckle them, but we were so fortunate, she actually brought the cubs out, and all 7 cubs followed her back to the other lioness that was guarding a kill. And it was the first time that these lionesses had taken the cubs out of the den site. So it was really an incredible sighting, a very special experience to see these little cubs exploring the world for the first time with their mothers. It's amazing how far they can take them to at a young age like that. We must have followed them for about almost 2 kilometers, at least. It's a little yawn from that lioness over there now. Occasionally yawning can signal that they might start getting active, maybe get up and move. Like, there we go. It is so great if you say something and it actually happens. Watch, let's just see. Hang on. Let's see if this is a proper... Again, it looks like it was, but I just don't see the usual growling or the snarling. But that lioness turning over onto her back like that is also a sign. They do that because they want to increase the chance of the eggs being fertilized. So the lionesses usually after every mating little session like this, they'll turn over, roll on their back, and it then apparently increases the chance of them falling pregnant. Just going to move a little bit for us. We're going to spend a few more minutes with these lions, just see if they do anything interesting, if they head back to their carcass, and if they investigate what's going on there with all the vulture activity and that. But while we do that, it sounds like Taylor's finding all the zebra this morning. Why don't you go and get an update from her?
It seems as though I'm the zebra whisperer, that beautiful herd that we had about 15 minutes ago, and I said how large it was. And now I'm really going to be able to see how many members were in that herd. We caught up with them again, and they've come to 3 in a row pan to have a lovely drink. Now, this is going to be a perfect opportunity again for some really amazing screenshots. It's not a particularly big pan, and then of course there's probably about 50 or so zebra here. So once they all decide to come out, it's really going to be quite spectacular. You can hear them all snorting. They were a little bit hesitant. They did definitely take their time coming over. I'm also going to capture a few screenshots because it's very pretty. Like I said, we don't always see things like this. The last time we saw all the zebra coming to have a drink at the dam was indeed at Red Dam. We watched them descend that very steep wall, which was really quite magnificent, with the black and white stripes and the red backdrop. Today we've got it slightly different. The water is so still, it's almost like glass, with there not being any wind today. Isn't this amazing? I haven't seen this many zebra, literally, not even the time we saw them at Red Dam there weren't so many zebra. There's definitely a whole lot more today. And definitely going to be lots of zebra pictures coming. Look at them all crowding around, trying to get the best spot. Hopefully there'll be a little bit of a disagreement as well, because that's always fun to watch. And how they kick and how they buck. Ooh. Steady. Play nice. There's plenty of water to go around here. Of course, so they always get quite feisty. Oh, did you see that kick? My goodness. I'm sure you must have heard it though. One got a double barrel right on the rump, which I suppose would have been a good spot though, because it's quite a tough section. Oh, I'm squeaking. Very funny though. Not funny for the one that got kicked. This is lovely. It's interesting that none of the foals came down to have a little drink. I thought that they would be in the water. Zebras love water. See a couple of youngsters. Maybe they're trying to find another way around. Hey, little one, not thirsty this morning? Still suckling from mum, are we? Yes, I'm talking to you. How beautiful they are. There's nothing quite like a dazzle of zebra. And this is, of course, really a proper dazzle today. I hope you're getting some good screenshots. Oh my goodness, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zebra in a line having a drink. Come on, add a few more. Fill in those gaps. That is beautiful. Look at all those heads in a row. Isn't that lovely? I love how they all come in, have a drink, next, funnel out, somebody takes their place. It really is like a production line today. And with these screenshots and the water being so still, I reckon you could probably flip the photo around and catch a few people and get them to believe that the reflection is the actual zebra. It's so crystal clear. This is stunning. Oh. Look at that. See that reflection, what I was telling you about? It almost looks like the actual zebra. Now, we're looking obviously at the most common zebra in Africa, the Burchell zebra. And I know that T. van Eyck was wondering, how on earth do you tell the difference between the various zebras? Now, I think the Burchell zebra are the easiest zebras to spot, purely because of that shadow stripe. So in between the black and the white stripe, there is a very light brown stripe that almost makes the zebras look a bit dirty. And they are the only ones to have this shadow stripe. The Cape Mountain zebra is also quite easy to tell the difference between the two, because they've got that big dewlap. But another feature of the Burchell zebra is if you go towards their stomachs, you'll see that their stripes go all the way around their bellies, whereas the others tend to have a big white gap between the black stripes, almost like a big white solid stripe going along the belly. And they're my favorite. I like the Burchells. They've got lovely personality. We've even got more zebra coming from the other side. This is amazing. Just not too many, but a couple more moving in, coming to join the party. I would be very impressed if a lion would be able to sneak up to these zebra. They are super vigilant. They are looking over their shoulders. Some are facing east, some are facing west, some are facing north. And of course the southern sector is also covered. Their eyes are all around. This is lovely. Morning zebra meeting. Hello, David from Napa. I'm so glad that you think that this is the best sighting ever, the best zebra sighting. Of course, it is pretty spectacular. Now we can see some of the youngsters coming down to have a drink as well. Perhaps they were waiting for the adults to come through and drink at their fill, because I'm sure that they would be bossed around by some of the teenagers if the youngsters got too excited and dived in too quickly. Going to take one or two more pictures. It's so beautiful. It's so lovely this morning. I can't believe it. I don't think I've ever seen so many zebra before at a watering hole all together, making for some wonderful pictures. Now, zebra are water dependent animals, so it's not uncommon to see them drinking at least once a day, if not even twice a day. I suspect they will be back for another drink later in the afternoon. Very much like the waterbuck as well, which are water dependent. So technically, this is what the books say now, of course, and like we always joke around that the animals don't read the same books as us. But zebra being water dependent, they wouldn't want to move away and live too far away from water. So they reckon that it's normally about a 5-kilometer radius that the zebras will move around and feed in that area. And they have to make sure that they get at least one drink in a day, like I said, if not 2 drinks on a real hot day. And even on a really hot day, and I'm sure you've seen it before, where the zebras will actually completely submerge themselves in the water. They love to swim and cool themselves down. It was beautiful. I see that all of you watching are full of jokes this morning. James Richard says that I'm a zebra-zillionaire. I wish that was worth a lot of money. But I suppose being able to sit and watch this great herd of zebra in real life is way better than any amount of money. It's beautiful. We've even got a kudu popping out into the distance. She's coming through. Perhaps she's going to come through for a drink as well. Oh, it's just one. Oh, there's actually a family on its way, which is quite nice. So maybe they're going to come through and have a drink, take an opportunity that the zebra are around to help keep an eye open for any predators. It's not a bad idea. We're going to have another morning, or like we had yesterday afternoon, where we spent the first hour of drive just at the watering hole, watching all the animals come by. See if they come around and have a little drink as well. Now, kudu don't need to drink as much water as the zebra do. They get quite a bit of their water sources from the leaves that they're eating. No, it doesn't seem as though they're coming this way. We'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. This is beautiful. I just have to sit and enjoy the peace and quiet. As we're watching on this lovely warm day, and I don't know if you saw me earlier swatting the flies away. You saw that zebra just shake its head. The flies are back in abundance, and I know Donna was wondering, how on earth do the zebras twitch their skin like that, and does it really get rid of the flies? Yes, it does, Donna. It's actually quite amazing as to how effective that really is. So by twitching their skin, it's just a muscle contraction. Look at the zebra having a big yawn. Just a muscle contraction, that's all it is. And by doing that, it moves the skin, and then the flies fly away. So it is effective. It's not as effective, though, as that beautiful big tail with all that lovely long hair. That is the best fly swatter you can get. I really feel as though it's unfortunate that the animals have to deal with all the flies. I know that I can't stand them. Now imagine being covered like a buffalo normally is with hundreds of flies. Look at this lovely as they walk across the dam wall. That's stunning. So beautiful. It's hard to look away. We said this is a very, very special sighting. And the kudu are not coming down for a drink, they're just bypassing. And as quickly as those zebra came down to quench their thirst, they're off again. Perhaps we're going to meet up with them on the open plains. Maybe that's where they're going. Maybe we'll just follow the zebras around. We normally follow the big cats, the lions, the leopards, the cheetah, and all those wonderful things. But I think it's time that we pay a bit of attention to the smaller stars of the show. And I think the zebras, I'm going to call it now, I think that they've stolen the show already. That was very special. But let's carry on. Let's go and see what the big plains of Cheetah Plains have for us. You never know, might be quite exciting. I know that there was someone, I've forgotten the name, that would love to see ostriches. I haven't seen an ostrich in ages, so I'd love to perhaps stumble into one of those big feathery birds. Now, we're not too far. I'm going to carry on making my way towards the open plains, and let's go back to Byron, who's still with the wonderful Nkuhumas.
Well, I think she's moved off. I think she was on site on their side, somewhere in there, because I'm sure...
With someone here yesterday, they said they'd go check in. They would go drive in, and as we drove away, they said we'd driven past. So it must just be in.
Yeah.